It was mass murder extermination. And they took people in the night mostly, especially in the beginning. Just a moment, please. I saw that it was mass murder and extermination. It was very well run and it was orchestrated. If you remember the first dream, I said that the government is going to be in charge of this thing called pogroms, and they're going to be doing it and getting resources from private companies. And I saw that when they started, they used to do it at night, especially in the beginning. So you would have a neighbor there the night before, and when you woke up, that person would be gone with no word as to where they had gone. An entire family being taken at night while the neighbors were looking through the curtains with the lights off to appear as if they were asleep. But all the while, the mother and father in one house were looking through the darkened curtains of their house, and they saw another family on the street in bathrobes and bedtime slippers being marched off. And that family was never seen again. And in America, it was given a name, and that name is Midnight Dread. This is what this act of stealing people at night came to be called, Midnight Dread. And as a result of this, some people refuse to sleep in their homes anymore. They refuse to have any last known locations associated with them. So last known locations, quote fingers, is a place where everyone knows this is Celestial's address. She lives here. This is Bob's address. He lives there. Some people completely abandoned those places and they refused to have any one location where they knew that people knows he lives here or she lives there. They became nomadic. They slept in different places all the time. And I saw that some fathers even broke their family up at night to give the family better chances of survival. Because if one family is in one house and they come and get all of you, they will exterminate that whole family. I saw that some men broke the family up at night. Some people went with dad, some people went with mom, so that the family would have a better chance of survival. I also saw a great disparity of thought in America. We know that this exists already. We can already see the hatred and the deep divides that people have here in the United States in terms of how they think and how they see things, and groups cannot agree. There's the straight versus the gay versus the trans versus the so-called black and the whites and the different things. Well, this thing became so pronounced, and the reason it became pronounced is because America came under existential threat. People behave very differently when they know that it's either their life or yours. All their civility goes away. All their human compassion goes away. Now you understand why the Bible says, in the last days, men will be lovers of themselves. This is why you understand why Jesus said that one of the key markers to know you are in the final times is that the natural love of man will grow cold. Now that you're watching it grow cold, you cannot deny what times we are in. So when the nation came under existential threat, once it becomes known that there are people out there coming to houses and grabbing people and carrying out citizen arrest orders, as I spoke of earlier, people changed. Some people rose to the occasion of the landscape, the new landscape that we were living in, like champions. They had been taught all their lives never to trust the government. They were taught this by their parents. They were taught this by their grandparents. They were taught this by their teachers and other influential people in their lives, to play the game when the government plays fair, but to not be disappointed or mad at all when the government doesn't play fair. These people were raised to have an expectation that the reason the Constitution includes the right to bear arms is because lawmakers in the 1700s understood that sometimes governments go crazy, they go corrupt, they become killers, and then the people should have the right to remove and replace them. Just for me saying this sentence, in that future time, it will be called sedition, and a person can be put to death for that. It will be said that the person is inciting rebellion against the state, and that person's life can be lost. So if you needed a real-time example of what I'm talking about, just that statement that I said before, that the Constitution gives people the right to self-defense and to form armed militias as a response to governments gone rogue for saying that fact that everybody learns in school, that will be seen as sedition, the act of inciting people to rise against and rebel against a sitting government. So these people had been taught all their lives that the government can play fair, and when it plays fair, you play fair. But when it doesn't play fair, don't be mad and don't be disappointed. Don't expect the government to do more than governments do. In other words, you can love America, but don't expect anything from the government. When the government is just, you be just. When the government is right, then you be right too. But the minute it stops being these things, these people were taught, break rank, lose hell, and take care of your own. So I saw that there was a contingent of people in America who thought like this, a ton of them. And they were scattered all over the nation, but they were mostly concentrated in certain areas. And God was showing me that these are also usually the type of people who are self-sufficient. They can grow their own food. You'll never find them at the welfare office. They never accept any kind of government handout, payout, nothing. You offer it, they don't want it. They're not poor. Some of them are poor, but either way, they don't trust the government fully. And so in this dream, when the government pulled off its mask and changed, these people were 100% not shocked. They were not sad. They were not having strokes, and they were not sad about anything. I saw them sitting on their porch and saying things like, told you, it's a corporation. That's what they were saying as people were walking by in front of their homes looking stressed out and scared. They didn't care one bit about what was happening in the cities. People were being put to death in cities for the most ridiculous and manufactured reasons that you can think of. Those people, God was showing me, never loved America as much as they loved their freedom, their guns, their dogs, their pets, their families. So they were not at all shocked when a regime government appeared, because deep down they never expected anything different. Here are the people who were really shocked. Here are the people who couldn't process what was happening. Students, professors, educated people, the experts in all the different fields, the learned citizens, people who had a lot of degrees and letters after their name, people who learned about America from books that they studied in school, where America is the one describing herself in those books because she wrote them. These people did not learn about the nation from paying attention to reality and history. The majority of such people were shocked to the bone, and they suffered great loss of life because they were not prepared, because they suffered deep disappointment that the entity they believed in their mind could do such things like this in real life. They suffered loss of life because of their blank refusal to accept what was happening and because of mass cognitive dissonance. It was like two different Americas God was showing me, responding to the same catastrophe. But because of the difference in their thinking, one group did much better than the other.